Bibles, turn to Genesis chapter number 36. While you turn there, I need to make a correction. When I was teaching in Sunday school this morning, I told them the story of a lady that had her picture taken. The correct part of that was there was a story of a lady who went to a photographer to have her picture made. Thanks, brother. When she saw it, she didn't like it. So she took it back to him and said, "You have to take this over." He asked, "What's wrong with it?" She said, "It doesn't do me justice." So he looked at the picture and looked at the lady.
36, Genesis.
Looked at the picture, looked at the lady and said, "Lady, you don't need justice, you need mercy." So I brought that across from Sunday school. I want to make sure I brought it across right with men would understand that. So take your Bible, Genesis chapter, I said 36, I mean 37. I have a concussion, I am forgetting things. Genesis 37. We're going to look at verses 12 through verse 35. You ever had a dream? No, when I'm not talking about a sleep dream, a dream when you go to sleep and you have a dream. I'm talking about like a vision that of something you want to do in life, of maybe a goal, or you just have a dream of maybe owning a house, a dream of having a great job, dream of a family, of having a great life. Now, we're going to look at Joseph tonight, and here's a man that has the heartbreak of a shattered dream. He looked at his dream. God had gave him dreams. Here's a man who could tell you his dream. He was excited about his dream. He was telling his brothers. He told his dad about his dream, as we looked at last week. We looked at a rose among the thorns last week. And so tonight, I want to look at the heartbreak of a shattered dream. All men dream, but all men don't dream equal. Someone once said, I think it was T.E. Lawrence once said, all men dream, but not equally. So we all have dreams. We all have dreams that sometimes they are accomplished and sometimes they are not. But we have dreams. Now, the make of a man, you could ask 3 questions, and I was looking at the 3 questions to find out what a person is really like. Joseph's going to be squeezed. Joseph's going to be put to the test in the upcoming chapters. Joseph's going to have some heartbreak and some heartache in his life. He's going to have some rough times in his life, and what's squeezed out of him, we're going to see. Because a lot of times what's squeezed out of you is what's in you. 3 questions to find out what a person is really like. I'll go back. Y'all remember a man by the name of Will Rogers? Yes. Will Rogers? He was known for his laughter. But he also knew how to weep, they said. They said one day he was entertaining at the Milton H. Berry Institute in Los Angeles, a hospital that specialized in rehabilitating polio victims and people with broken backs and other extreme physical handicaps. And of course, Rogers had everybody laughing, even patients in really bad condition. But then he suddenly left the platform and went to the restroom. Milton Berry followed him to give him a towel. And when he opened the door, they said he saw Will Rogers leaning against the wall, sobbing like a child. He closed the door, and in a few minutes, Rogers reappeared on the platform as jovial and as humorous as before. And he made this statement: if you want to learn what a person is really like, ask these 3 questions. What makes him laugh? What makes him angry? And what makes him weep? Those are 3 good questions that we need to ask. What makes you laugh? What makes you angry? And what would make you weep? We could ask that question to Joseph. And really, with Joseph, it doesn't really say that he whined. It doesn't say he ever blamed God. It never one sin was ever attributed to Joseph. Joseph is a type of Christ in the Old Testament. And see, if we looked at our dreams, maybe it was a child that did not, when you was a child, you had a dream of what your life may turn out like that you had envisioned for you. Maybe it was something that shadowed your dream, like a financial setback. Maybe it was a marriage that didn't go the way you had dreamed it would. Life is often a series of shadowed dreams. We don't understand why we go through the things we go through. And they're hard. When our dreams are shattered, it often leaves us devastated. It leaves us confused. It leaves us upset. Sometimes we might even be tempted to think that God has forgotten about us. Maybe God forgotten about our dreams. We might even wonder if God has forgotten the things He promised us in His Word. I wonder how Joseph felt as the events of this passage began to work themselves out. Joseph was a young man, maybe 17 years of age, when this begins to take place. Matter of fact, let's stand and we'll look at verse number 12 through verse number 35 and 36. The Bible says, beginning in verse number 12 of chapter 37, and his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shunem. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shunem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here am I. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, they are departed hence. For I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will come of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. At least Reuben, what failed his father, now is beginning to show a little bit of leadership capabilities. Now he's standing up and said, don't kill him. He planned on going back to get him. Verse 23, and it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, and going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profited it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. And let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, and our flesh and his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes, and he returned unto his brethren, and said, the child is not, and whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, this we have found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes. and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for him his son many days. And all of his sons and all of his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Let's pray. Lord, as we look at Joseph's life, what will become of Joseph? Lord, the dreams that you gave him. Lord, the plans that you had for his life. No doubt Joseph looked, Lord, and wondered what was happening, what was going on. But God, your ways are not our ways. God, the dreams that we have sometimes, Lord, may fade, they may fail. But God, I'm glad you give us new dreams. You give us new visions. You give us new directions, as you did Joseph. Lord, be with us and help us to learn from Joseph's life. God, when we fail, there's always another door that would be open for us. So lead us, Lord, tonight. And Lord, speak to our heart, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. You may be seated. Now, Joseph, what a man. What a young man, 17 years of age. But I want to go back to verse 12, 13, and 14. And I want you to notice Jacob's demand. Jacob gives Joseph a demand. His command, Jacob wants Joseph to go down and check on the welfare of his brothers. So they are all away from the family. They are tending their father's sheep. There's a couple of reasons why Jacob was concerned about his sons. We might well get comfortable, shouldn't we? Jacob had some major concerns and some legitimate concerns. They were in Shuham. Remember what happened there? It was here that Simeon and Levi had murdered an entire village to avenge the rape of their sister Dinah. So there was no doubt, there was anger in that region, and Jacob feared maybe for his son's safety there. I don't know about you, you go in there and kill all the men in the village, you probably going to have somebody angry with you, wouldn't you think? Yeah. So he was concerned about that. Also, his sons had already proven that they were not trustworthy. Remember what Joseph had already had to bring an evil report back to his dad, to Jacob, regarding some of his brothers and what they was doing and their scrupulous tactics of what they were doing out there in the fields. So Joseph had already gave an evil report of his brothers and what they was doing. So no doubt Jacob wanted to make sure those sheep was being tended to, they was doing their job, and yet also they was safe. Now, his command was given, but his confusion was there too. Evidently, Jacob was out of touch with what was happening in his own family. You ever seen that happen? You're in the family, but you're out of touch of what's going on in the family. Things are going on behind the scenes. See, Jacob appears to have been a father who was occupied with things other than what was going on in the family and going on with the needs of his family. He was out of touch with them. In other words, he was there, but he wasn't there. Had he been paying attention, he would have known that Joseph's older brothers hated him. He would have paid attention of how they treated him in and around the camp. He would have noticed these brothers was out for revenge. These brothers were angry with him. These brothers wanted to mistreat him. And if he'd have been paying attention of what was going on inside the family, he would have known that their hatred had been growing. And it was reaching a point that they couldn't even speak a kind word to Joseph. That was back in verse 4. They can't even speak kindly to him. They hated him. And see, this is a lesson for us. As parents, we need to pay very close attention to what's going on in our homes. We need to make sure what's going on with our kids. You know, a lot of times, what we do is we send our kids, and this may be offensive, but we let the TV be the babysitter. We let everything be the babysitter rather than us spending time with it. Now, I don't know about y'all, but we didn't have, when I was growing up, we had one TV and we had 3 channels.
Yep.
Well, 4 counting channel 17. We had 4 channels. And if wrestling was on, God forbid, we couldn't watch nothing else because Daddy had wrestling on the channel. But you know how those 4 channels, you know what my daddy would always do? On Saturday, when my mama said, "You not going fishing," we went fishing. We spent time together. And of course, now you got how many 500 channels, and they ain't nothing fit to watch on TV much, are they? Yeah, we sit there and we'll. That's why we had kids where they turn the channels, but now it's gotten easier when you just do this. I remember a woman saying, "I got back at my husband this morning, preacher. He wanted to stay at home." Preacher looked at me and said, "What'd you do?" "I got his remote." See, what we need to realize what's going on in our home. We need to make sure what's going on in our home. Because if Jacob was out of touch with what was taking place, the brothers hated his favorite son, which Jacob caused some of it himself by having a favorite, number one, but then he wasn't paying attention to what was going on in the house, and he let sin take place, and there was no consequences to what was taking place in his home.
That's right.
Children, well, you know what's amazing today? I watched a special a while back. Children demand their privacy. You had that happen in your home? It's my rent. I don't remember you paying rent. This is my food. Great, I'm glad you paid for it. You know what we do? We need to realize that's a room they're staying in until they get out. That's a room that we love them enough to provide food, clothing, a house. But guess what? If we don't watch their lives, if we don't get involved in their lives, they may go off out there, and before you know it, instead of looking through the door of a bedroom to see them, you'll be looking through bars to see them. What we need to do is get involved in our kids' lives. Spend time with our kids, because passive parents are going to pay a high price for not being with our kids. I don't know about you, but we spend a pretty good bit of time with our kids. We made them go outside to play. We didn't have a toy. When we did get a toy, they played for about a month and then they didn't want to go outside and play. We even taught them how to use the restroom outside. Even Michaela learned that. I know y'all probably didn't want to know that. That's why we had a dad. But we was involved in their lives. And that's what we need to do, is be involved in our family's lives. We don't need to let everybody else run our family. We need to run the family. We need men of God being leaders in the home. We need, matter of fact, somebody once said, "Well, I'm the head of the home." Guess what? Your wife is the neck. When she turns, you're going to follow. I found out, you know what? Me and my wife talks about things. My kids ask me one day, "Why don't y'all argue?" We have disagreements. We do. And I will fight for her right to be wrong. I will. But see, we discuss it. We don't have to discuss it in front of them. We don't have to get angry at one another in front of them. I want them to know that we are a unified front. Has your kids ever played against each other? Can I go spend the night at so-and-so's? Well, what'd your mama say? She said it's okay to, with her, asked you. Then when you asked her, did you say she could go and spend the night? She said, no, I didn't say that. I told her to go ask you. Because I figured you'd say no. They know how to play us, don't they? But we need to love them enough to have a unified front. The husband and wife needs to agree to the rules to begin with, and we need to spend time with them to let them know we love them so much, we would give them our time. You know, our time is more valuable than our treasures.
That's right.
They want our time. They want you and I to spend our time with them more than they want that gift. They'll say, yeah, I want that new phone. I want that new TV. Or, I want that new this or new that. But you know what's more precious that you can't get back? Your time.
That's right.
That's the main thing. But no, notice them down a little bit more, verse 13 to verse 17. Joseph's devotion. Now, Joseph, what did he do? He said, and Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem, and come and I will send thee unto them. And he said, here am I. He didn't say, Dad, I don't want to go. I ain't got time. I'm tired. You ever heard that? I'm tired. I don't want to do that. We do the same thing. Lord, I'm too tired to do that. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. God wants us to do something. See, Joseph's devotion, it was immediate. Now, without question, Joseph accepts his father's assignment and leaves to go find his brothers. And he knows the risk, but his obedience to his father command is his first priority in his life. His dad said, I want you to go find them. That was his goal. That's what he was commanded to do. And that's exactly what he did. He got up, he immediately went to find his brethren. Kind of a type of Christ right here. When Jesus came into this world, he was sent by the Father, and he came willingly. See how it's a type of Christ? Jesus did not have to be forced to come into this world. He came willingly to die for sinners.
That's right.
Just like Joseph. He came because it was the Father's ordained will, and it was his determined will. You go to pay the price. Our lives ought to be marked by the same level of obedience. A lot of times our obedience is convenience. Preacher, I will be there if, or but, or maybe. We got a lot of church mites going on over. You ever got to hold those mites? You know what the mites are, right? Yeah, I guess y'all all heard. You going to sing in the choir? I might. You going to serve in Sunday school? I might. You going to help next week at the work day? Well, I might. And those church mites come and come and come, and all of a sudden you meet up with the mites, and there ain't no mites anywhere around to be seen. See, we need to realize we need to be obedient. We need to be obedient to the Father's will. And when God sends you, you need to go. You need to do like Joseph. Here I am. Let's go. But notice in verse 15 through 17, it was insistent. When Joseph arrived in Shechem, he did not find his brothers there. Now without reading all these verses again, because I know most of y'all can read, and you can read these at home. So I'm going to go through this a little quickly, because I know some of y'all are looking pretty hungry already. He didn't find his brothers there. A man tells him that they had left Shechem and had gone to Dothan. And many people might have concluded, many of us would have said, well, I went down there to where the Father told me to go. My job is complete. It is done. Turn around and go back home. So Dad didn't find them. They went where they said they went where they were supposed to be. So I went down there, looked everywhere for them, and come back. You ever sent your kids to do something?
Or your husband. To find something.
You know, us men do the same thing. You walk into a room, they sent you to get something, you walk into the room. Don't see it. It ain't here. Then your wife walks in behind you, walks over there, picks it up, says, here it is. How'd that get there? You must have placed it there. I always pick at the kids when they say, well, I didn't do it. Call the neighbors. Well, you'll call neighbors. Because they had to come into the house to do this when we wasn't here, or this wouldn't be done. Call the neighbors. See, here, he was insistent. When Joseph got down there, he didn't find them. He asked the man, where have you seen them? Where did they go? He said they went down. I heard him say they was going down to Dothan. And Joseph, what did he do? He went down to Dothan. He went the extra mile. He didn't stop where his father was sitting. He said, Daddy, sit me down there. I'm going all the way until I find them, no matter where they went. When in verse 18 through 30, the brothers saw him coming. The brothers' depravity is getting even lower and lower. Because you know what happens in verse 18 to verse 20? The brothers come up with a plot. You'd think this was on the ID channel. To order, it ain't over there. When Joseph arrives in Dothan, his brothers see him coming. The hatred began in their hearts and found some more fertile soil there that begins to grow. It's grown into a full-fledged desire to murder this young man. Let's kill him, let's take his coat, and let's just throw him in a pit. The true nature of these men are on display now. First, they have a desire in their hearts to kill Joseph. They hate him so much that they're willing to put him to death to get rid of him. Then they ridicule him because of his words. They call him, here comes this dreamer. Let's see what happens to his dreams once we get rid of him. They was angry. They was mean. They was out for revenge. They just, you ever got around somebody that's bitter? They got a bitterness in them. It's like a cancer that eats them up. You know what's sad? Sometimes we get angry at somebody and they don't even know you're angry at them. I've had people angry at me. Y'all can't believe that, can you? As sweet as I am. Somebody be mad at me, be angry. But I've had people mad and angry at me. Well, I had one brother one Sunday when I was at my first church I was preaching through the book of Romans, and I was laying out sin, and I was calling sin, and that brother wasn't even there that Sunday. And then the next Sunday, as soon as they come in for the worship service, he comes straight to me and said, I heard you preached about me last week. I don't remember you being here last week. He said, no, I wasn't here, but I heard what you preached about. Apparently somebody went to him and said, Brother Eugene preached about you last week. I said, brother, I didn't even call nobody by name. He didn't really know what to say from there on out. But I told him, I said, the Bible lays out sin and sin is sin, no matter what you call it. I said, nobody told me what you was doing. I didn't know what you was doing, but he just identified what he was doing. See, what we need to realize is there's going to be people, when you get angry at somebody, they might not even know you're angry at them. And that bitterness begins to build up and you get angrier and angrier, and they don't even bother them.
That's right.
There was a saying that I always liked. He who angers you controls you. That's kind of like, you don't mind me telling a story that you told me at lunch, do you? Lunchtime, Sister April was telling me that her and Gary's out in the woods yesterday. And I'm not going to go into detail, but she did. And she said, Gary, when you're going back to the truck, she said, you want me to hold your gun? And I'm sure the look of horror on his face, no. They've been watching the ID channel. He's been left out there somewhere.
Yeah, he's not here, is he?
But see, anger will build up in you. Not that she was angry at him, but anger will build up and make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. No doubt these boys, sometimes they were sweet, but these boys were angry at their brother because of his dreams, because of the favoritism of their father. And all these things combined made them angry at Joseph. But Joseph really didn't go to them and lord it over him or anything. They just hated him for who he was. But notice in verse 21 through 25, Reuben made a proposal. Reuben's beginning to grow up. Remember, Reuben committed incest with his stepmother? He was disqualified for being the leader. But now he's beginning to show a little bit of maturity. He is weak. He didn't show leadership in the beginning. He's like water, totally unstable. But on one hand, he had more reason to hate Joseph than any of the other brothers, because Joseph was taking his place as leader in the household. He knows that Joseph had been chosen to take his place by his dad as the head of the family. And on the other hand, Reuben knows he has the responsibility to protect his little brother, if at all possible. He tells the rest of them they shouldn't kill Joseph, let's throw him in a pit. And his plan was to go back later on, get Joseph out of the pit, and get him back to the father before the other brothers could kill him. So Reuben was trying to look out for his little brother. But in verse 25 through verse 28, Judah had a plan. These men were so callous that they threw their brother into a pit and then sat down and ate their lunch. I watched a program the other day where somebody killed somebody and then sat down beside them and ate lunch. I'm watching too much of that channel.
Look out, Melissa.
But Judah's plan was to throw him in the pit, kill the boy, and when they was in the pit, they sat down and ate lunch, and there's no record of Joseph crying. There's no record of him begging for help in these verses. And in Genesis 42:21 makes it clear that Joseph cried out, and they turned a deaf ear to his pleas, because here it didn't say he cried out, but in chapter 42, it talks about him crying out, and maybe he's pleading with him, I'm your brother, why are you doing this? What have I done to you to deserve this? But Judah's plan was already set in motion. And in verse 28, Joseph is sold for 20 pieces of silver. How would you feel if you got sold into slavery? Well, I don't know. It depends who I'm sold to. No. If you were sold by your brothers into slavery, matter of fact, you realize that 20 pieces of silver, that was the price of someone that was crippled. His brothers sold him like he was a piece of trash. His brothers there sold him for 8 ounces of silver. That equaled up to about $98.24 in today's weapon. So less than $100, he was sold as a slave. The brothers are unfeeling. They are so filled with hatred for Joseph that they sell him into the merchants and watch him haul away as a common slave. They didn't say goodbye. They didn't say anything to him. They sold him, took the silver, put it in their pockets. Reminds us of Jesus, that Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver by his brethren. Sold out. He was betrayed by someone who should have loved him. He was betrayed by a man